Oh, buddy, we're doing it.
Hell yeah, we are, dude. What's up?
What is up, Shane?
Not too much, man. Welcome back to Cleveland Rocks.
Welcome back to Cleveland Rocks.
Almost like we
NPR.
never left. Yes, welcome. Act
Welcome.
1. This is Drew Carey life. Act 1. What makes the pig go oink? We talk with writers from The Atlantic about I can't do an Ira Glass. I feel like Ira Glass impressions used to be big probably when Obama was president, and now, like, who the fuck even knows what that means?
Yeah,
that's a foreign sentence. What I just said.
Now they are literally getting rid of it.
Yeah. No, now it's literally been abolished. Yes, but yeah, you know, it is what it is.
Thank you, viewers like you,
Yes.
listeners like you.
Yes,
You make this all possible.
Thank you. I've got a little bit of Drew Carey news, which isn't really news, but it came across
Drew's news.
Drew's
Is that
news. I think it is. I think it is by another Drew. But Drew Carey, this is in Us magazine. I guess he's doing press because The Price is Right is about to have its 15,000th episode, if I'm correct. Like, not under him, but like lifelong.
15,000 feels kind of random, but okay.
Well, you know,
Look, it is a big number.
Yeah.
It's going to be a while
SNL's about to do their 50th while we're recording this. Yeah, right? Like, it takes decades.
Yeah.
So the headline, though, somebody at work, shout out Adam, my friend at work, my supervisor, but my friend at work sent me this. Drew Carey reflects on the 30th anniversary of The Drew Carey Show and what he misses most and least. So it's a lot of, like, you know, he misses. You want to take a guess what he misses the most from The Drew Carey Show?
I mean, I would say just the cast, right? I would assume it's the guys. I would assume it's literally Ryan Stiles.
Yes. We text every once in a while, me and Kathy Kinney, who plays Mimi, Diedrich Bader, and I see Ryan every once in a while when I do improv. Everyone was so great, and we were like a family for all those years. We spent all these days together working in a high-pressure, high-stress situation. He talks about, you know, worrying about even knowing if they were going to have a pilot pickup. Like, I guess they submitted it in 92 or 91. And it was 6 o'clock came on the day that the networks were going to pick up pilots, and they didn't get a phone call. And then 15 minutes after that, they got a call saying that they had gotten approved to make a pilot for this show.
That had to be
stressful. 15 minutes.
Well, imagine that. See, you probably get to 6, and then you're like, we tried. Mm-hmm. Fuck it. And then you crack open a few Buzz beers.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right.
There goes that dream.
Yeah.
And then the dream comes ringing. That's pretty cool.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah. The thing he misses least is the environment. He says, quote, "You're always fighting the clock. You're fighting yourself. You're fighting fatigue. Yeah, I don't miss that part, but I do miss the people. We had a really good group of people. All the writers are great. I had a good time doing that." And then
that seems to be a theme with, like, the weekly sitcoms.
Yeah.
Is apparently it's the most stressful environment.
The one other thing, this is maybe not great news, but they asked him, while Carey certainly misses working alongside his former co-stars, his admiration for the show and the people who made it possible doesn't mean he takes regular trips down memory lane. Quote, "No, I don't like to watch myself on television," Carey said when asked if he ever goes back and watches past episodes of The Drew Carey Show. "Even as a kid, I didn't like seeing myself on video. I just don't like seeing myself move around. I don't like to watch myself on television." So I don't know what this means in terms of us being able to get Drew.
I don't think. I was just going to say, it sounds like it's going to be harder to get Drew Carey to talk about it.
Yeah, I think he might
He
not
doesn't
want
have to watch it.
No, look, I won't. Look, he lived it. I'm not going to make the man watch his own show.
We can just. What if we made a one? All right, yeah, this is season 4, episode
12.
5.
Yeah, you remember anything about this one, Drew? Tell us everything. But I don't know. So, you know, if he doesn't like watching the show, what do you think of the odds he likes listening to two assholes talk about the show that he made?
God, he probably...
Like, I just feel diminishing returns. I have gotten Drew Carey left Twitter, but he's on Blue Sky. And I'm now on Blue Sky, and I've posted a couple times. I got nothing. He's mostly posting the Apple News crossword. He does the Apple News crossword every day.
I'm glad, and he lets you know that he completed it.
Yeah, and he lets you know like his time. Like I guess you can share it with you. So it's like
is he good? Is he good?
He does it in like 6 minutes. I've never done the Apple crossword, so I don't know if it's like some people like the Sunday Times. It takes them like 20 minutes to do or whatever. He does these in like 6 or 8 or
good for he's sharp.
Yeah,
staying
sharp. Absolutely. Yeah. So it's fun. Maybe I should start doing the crossword and posting it at Drew and seeing if
that's how you get his attention.
That's how I ingratiate myself.
But the thing is, you need to do it in under 6 minutes. You need to get it to a level where he's like, oh,
yeah.
fuck,
that requires me to know more words than I think I currently know, and I'm not sure, or phrases. Like crosswords are hard.
Oh, you know me, I'm not a word guy.
I do the New York Times Mini, and I'm like lucky if I get under 2 minutes.
My dad he doesn't do crosswords. He does word searches to stay sharp. And I'm like, that's a little more my speed.
Yeah.
I'm like, I just have to find the words in the jumbled letters.
If it's like backwards or something, that shit gets
That's
tricky.
hard.
That shit gets tricky.
Yeah.
Shout out your dad. That's a good feat. So that is the breaking Drews we have for this week is Drew Carey reflects on the 30th anniversary of the Drew Carey Show. This is the 30th anniversary year, by the way, September 13th of 1995. The show came out. So yeah. Again, 2 days after will be my 30th birthday. Not to age anyone who may be listening, but
I get not wanting to watch yourself. I just feel like it's.
Do you have a hard time watching like things you did in college and stuff?
If I look at just like any any video, and obviously I was never on something as as big and vulnerable as television, but even just in any video, I hate it. I hate looking at myself. So I can only imagine. Yeah, and especially when you think about a sitcom and what he did, how much he wrote all of it and how much of his blood, sweat, and tears is in every bit of it. And then you have to kind of rewatch it. You cringe at that. You're cringing at maybe even the acting, your appearance, the right. I just feel like
I think it's like such a lens.
It's probably so hard.
And then you realize, tens of hundreds of thousands of people are watching it every week. Like I think that would kind of fuck with your brain.
Yeah. So. I'll cringe at just a sketch I did, and that's nothing because in comparison to I spent years of my life. This was
getting to this point
to do this, and I got to rewatch it. Yeah. Even though obviously this is we rave about.
I'm having a blast rewatching it. I will say.
Yeah.
So anyway, Drew. Again, if you want to ever come on the show, we would love to have you. We won't make you watch yourself. We just want to ask some questions,
dude. We don't even have to talk about the show.
We'll talk about the crossword.
Drew, if you
we'll talk
about
come fish, whatever you want,
man. I'll spend
an
hour talking about fish in the crossword.
Did you see? I had mentioned. I tagged you on Instagram. He was at the Fish Madison Square Garden show back in January or something.
Oh yeah.
I was like, "Fuck, man! We should have thought." But I wouldn't also have paid money.
So
to see
fish? Was that his first fish experience at the Sphere? And now he's
I think, and now he's kind of like.
Are they fish? What do they call them?
I don't know.
Fishies.
Plenty of fish. I don't know what they call themselves. Yeah. But I think that was his first time, and now he's around. Somebody was also there with a sticker for him. He put on Instagram of it was, I can't remember what it said, but it had Drew's face.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
So, but anyway, Drew, next time you're in New York, come on through.
Yeah, come on through. We'll come to you.
We'll make you the mayor. I don't know if you've heard at this point.
I'll give you the keys to my apartment, but
you got to be cool. If you can water the plants,
cool. yeah. If you can water the plants, if you're here on Sundays, that's sick.
We watched another 2 episodes of the Drew Carey Show.
Can you believe that, guys? We watched another 2 episodes.
It's how this goes. Can you believe it when you clicked play on this that we were going to watch?
That we watched another 2 and we're going to talk about them.
Season 3, episode 5, season 3, episode 6. We're really chugging along with season. Also, we're going to get to it, but I forgot episode 5 is a continuation. Totally forgot about how episode 3 or episode 4 ended.
I did not, having been the one that just edited the last one.
Sure, yeah, you went through.
It's very fresh in my memory.
Yeah, I was like, why the and then
why were they all in prison?
Yeah, that's how it starts. So it's a very, very, very fine house is the name of this episode.
House. It's a very, very, very fine house.
Oh, I don't know what
Is
that the reference?
That's a song, yeah.
Oh, fuck. I thought you were doing Our House. I thought you were ripping off that. Different house. Different house. It's a very, very, very fine house. Who sings that?
I
don't know.
You put me on the spot. I know that. Here's the thing. I know that listening. You know that song.
Yeah, and you're gonna write in.
Yeah,
and tell us clevelandrockspodcast@gmail.com. Somebody tell us.
A very, very, very fine house. Whoa. It's just here. I sang that. Go ahead and Shazam that and see what comes up. Yeah. So we start off. We're in the Warsaw, and Oswald and Kate are celebrating. They just got out of jail.
Yeah, they burst into the Warsaw and they announced that they got out of jail, and everybody applauds. They weren't arrested for selling drugs, but Drew was. Everybody boos. Like it's a real crowd and response thing going on with the Warsaw crowd. It's kind of Shakespearean almost, how the audience plays a role, you know.
Yeah.
But Drew was boo, but he's innocent. Yay! They keep. Oswald learns that he can just raise his hands and they'll respond and cheer to anything. So we get this whole back and forth about how Drew was screwed by the system, and this is, if you're like me and you forgot how episode 4 ended, Larry, his former coworker, who had all this money coming from nowhere.
We're gonna see Larry again.
I hope so, or he goes to jail forever. I don't know.
Because
he was selling drugs. He was selling drugs out of Drew's house.
We haven't seen the last of Larry.
No, I think he'll make a comeback.
Yeah, he's too good.
He's too fun.
He's too
character.
funny. He's too crazy and unpredictable of a character.
Yeah.
The Lewis comes in. He also got out of jail.
Yeah.
And he
everybody got in jail. I forgot. Nicki goes to jail. Everybody there went to jail.
Everybody went to jail. Lewis comes out. He's like, man, I need a woman. And they were like, you were in there for 3 hours. You haven't had a woman in 6 months.
He's so lonely.
It's and that ends up being the theme
later
of
in
this
the episode.
Opening scene is how, and throughout the episode is, Lewis is third wheeling now.
Yeah. At best he's third wheeling. Sometimes he's fifth wheeling.
Yeah. Everyone's hooked up.
It's a tough life, man, being the third wheel.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know. I was the third wheel for quite some time in this very apartment. It's not a fun time.
Yeah.
I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying.
But now, look, now we're
a bicycle.
4 wheels.
No, we're a car.
We are a vehicle. We're a car.
We're vrooming.
Yes.
No, it's good. It's lovely.
But
yeah, so Drew and Oswald and Lewis are trying to figure out how the hell Drew didn't realize what was going on with Larry. And while they're figuring that out, Kate comes through with a phone call. She answers on the bar phone.
Yeah, because they just get... I mean, the other thing I forgot about this episode... they live in the Warsaw.
Oh, yeah. Well, we've asked multiple times, I think, on this podcast, are they still living in there? Because we never really got like a stat. We've never seen the space before this episode of what their upstairs looks like.
Oh, it's awesome. We'll get there.
It rules. But they've got the bar phone. I just love the idea of like a rotary phone you'd call in the 90s to like your bar. Why would you even call your bar? Are they open? You know what I mean?
That means you have to memorize your bar's number.
Yeah. And they've got a rotary, so you got to like do the crazy shit.
And if you screw up one number, you got to
restart the whole thing. But yeah, no, the Kate gets a call and it's Drew in jail. Drew's one call was to the Warsaw. And he's maxed out his credit card. He is $500 short of paying bail.
I didn't know you could pay for bail with a credit card.
I guess it makes sense, right?
I mean, I guess it doesn't matter.
No.
But I just had no idea that they would accept. Do you think you get cash back?
I'm on a rewards program for bail.
Bail. No, I got bail money today, guys. I get points.
Can you just Venmo me for the bail?
I'm planning a vacation to Tahiti.
So Drew's maxed out his credit card, though. Man, how much do you think Drew's got credit?
What's his credit limit?
Also, what's his bail? Like, how's he 500 short?
That's an interesting question.
Because it's 1997 or so in Cleveland, Ohio.
And someone is selling drugs in your house.
Mm-hmm. How are you $500 short?
What is your bail? Yeah. I don't know. It's like let's just use 10,000 as a benchmark. Do you think that's too high or too low?
I think that I was going to say 10,000 is like exact the number I had in my head.
10,000. Okay. That makes it. I mean, you assume he had other purchases on his credit card.
But we also know, and again, I don't know exactly what it was, but like from seasons back, his income is like less than $30,000.
Yeah.
So can he get approved for $10,000 on a credit card? Math nerds, if you're out there.
Well, I guess back then, I don't know. 10,000 might be a big credit limit back then.
Yeah, that's huge.
Like, because nowadays it's not.
No.
They're just handing out credit because they want us to get.
They want your money.
They just want us to get deeper and deeper in the hole.
Debt. Guys, this is how the system works. They want to fuck you.
The moral of this episode is the system will just beat you and beat you, but eventually, what's the thing in the end? It'll just let the system beat you until it gets tired. And
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But anyway, they're trying to then rally everybody at the Warsaw to give money to their favorite patron, Drew Carey. They say like this is basically his second home. So Oswald goes, "Who's with me?" Raises his hand, does the whole thing, tries to get everybody excited. Nobody wants to give $10.
Yeah, they're not into it this time.
No, until Kate goes, "All right, $10, and I'll tell everybody what my one night in women's prison was like." And every horny motherfucker runs in with $10, including women.
Yeah.
Maybe people are just there's a fascination with women's prison.
Orange is the New Black was a big deal.
That's true.
I didn't watch it, but
It was the first.
I remember
it was one of the first big Netflix shows.
It was a huge deal.
Yeah, that and House of Cards.
Yeah,
with whatever happened to that
who's
lead
that
guy? Whatever happened, I don't know.
Louis C.K. Was that?
So yeah, that is it, and then we get the titles, which the titles still rule. I do want to say, I know we talked about it in the last episode, but
It's still so good.
It's such a good call.
Well, now it feels like this is the show.
Yeah,
we're watching the right thing. It's got the right energy to it. Yeah,
it took you 3 seasons, but you got there. It's good.
Yeah, it's also like it is very 90s.
Yeah.
It feels like
sure.
how hard it sort of
the energy,
rocks,
the weird field camera shots they've got. It all rules. Yeah,
it's great.
It rocks. So yeah, then we go back from the titles. Drew and Lewis are going into Drew's house with boxes, and they're also with a federal marshal who I thought at first was like a parole officer. I don't know why I got that. I don't know a lot about the prison life. I don't know a lot about jail.
Well, he made bail, so
yes,
he says that to be so. He's no longer beholden to
any sort of
whatever Ohio correctional facility,
right?
So yeah, federal marshal. It's just like I don't know, the people in charge of the crime scene.
Sure.
Assuming it's the federal crime scene. It's drug charges. I don't know.
And as we learn throughout this, Drew's house is like he still can't go to the house. Like because he's made bail, and they're looking into crimes at this point, but his house is like an active crime scene because of all of the drugs that were being sold out of it, I guess. So he's got like 10 minutes with this marshal to go in and grab his stuff. And while he's like perusing his items, the marshal thinks he finds cocaine on the coffee table right in front of him.
Yeah.
And then Drew's quick to correct him. No, that's just powdered sugar donuts. The most fat guy thing I could imagine.
Not only that, he's like, but why is it right on the table?
Why is there no plate?
Why is there no plate? And he's like, it wasn't there that long.
Yeah, no, they're going to go really quick. Don't you understand? I like this federal marshal character, and I know like he's like, just a one and done like extra guy, but like they got like a nice little hard ass guy who's also kind of goofy.
Yeah.
It was like a nice balance.
No, and then the phone rings and he picks it up and he's like, federal marshal, you're calling this is the crime scene, the federal marshal speaking. And then he's like, oh, it's mom. And he hands it
over to Drew. Drew's mom is not thrilled to find out that her house is a active crime scene.
Formerly her house.
That is true. I guess it's no longer hers.
So he takes the call into the kitchen and he starts explaining himself. And then he hands the phone back to the federal marshal.
She asks for the phone to go to the marshal,
and then the marshal talks to her for a minute, and then smacks Drew in the back of the head.
Yeah, it was a great little bit. Yeah. Great little bit. So it's at this point too we then get Drew's neighbors again come in. The neighbors who came in at the end of the last scene.
Yeah, the new rich neighbors.
Come back in, and they decide now is a good time to introduce themselves.
Yeah.
So and they're there ostensibly also because they received a package that was meant for Drew to their front step, so they just wanted to return it.
Yeah.
The marshal though claims he has to look at anything that's now it's his property, so he goes through it and it's like a scale.
Yeah, it's like, did you ever use those scales in school in like chem or whatever?
Yeah,
like high school
biology
or bio, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a scientific measuring scale, not just like a weight scale. And it kind of also looks exactly like what you would use if you were weighing out drugs.
Oh, yeah.
The things you want to get right down to the ounce. So Drew, though, has an explanation for this. He wants to file a lawsuit where he's going to explain that a quarter pounder is not a quarter pound. It doesn't weigh a quarter pound.
Yeah.
And then the rich neighbor is also a smarty pants and proves that it's a quarter pound before it's cooked.
Yeah.
It's a quarter pound of meat before it's cooked. And and Drew gets pissy when he understands this.
I'm not gonna lie. I
never thought of it like
obviously in hindsight, yeah, duh.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
that's
it
how
makes
we
sense.
fucking buy meat.
Before it's cooked.
But
But
that's
not how we buy. Well, if you're buying it from like a restaurant, that's not how we buy meat. But if you're a restaurant, that's how you fucking buy meat.
no, that's how we buy meat at the grocery store. If I'm like, I want a half a pound of ground beef.
You think Drew's going to the grocery store?
No, I know.
You think Drew Carey's buy? Well, no, I guess sometimes he is. I don't know.
No, I at that point I was, because before the neighbor said that, I was like, good point, Drew.
Yeah.
You're right.
He's got something.
Why
on
hasn't
his
anyone
hands.
brought this up?
Right.
Because you know what? It damn sure looks a quarter pound in the commercials.
Yeah. They make
sure
it
of
look
that.
weighty. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we took those media classes. We understand the art of commercial.
That's not even a
food stuff.
hamburger.
No, exactly. It's all fake. The cereal. When I took that media class that we had to take at Temple, and they were like, the milk.
It's all glue.
It's glue. I was like, holy fucking shit! Like, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
It blew my mind. So yeah, fuck that. Drew's right. Drew, sue the shit out of the Golden Arches.
And then after the scale, Lewis comes in. The toilet flushes you hear in the back room. And just to kind of put a pin in this scene, Lewis walks in and the marshal's like, what were you doing? Ditching evidence? And he's like, if that's what you want to call it.
Perfect. That's what I'm going to call taking a dump from now on, I think.
Ditching the
evidence.
That's good.
So we then get Drew and Lewis again. He's moving into the apartment above the Warsaw, and we finally get a good look at this living space, if that's what you want to call it. It's it's got a couch, it's got a nice little space. Or it actually doesn't have a couch. It's got like bar seating almost.
Yeah,
it's a storage space essentially. It's where they've made it nice, but it's extra storage for the Warsaw.
This is unreal, actually. Because when they first walk in, it does kind of look like how their old apartment used to look like. Because remember, their old apartment was just chaos too, and you just see like the sports shit on.
But
the
at least
wall,
it had like a kitchen.
Right.
At least it had a semblance of a living
I
space.
do love the kitchen here. So as they kind of walk in, they do show like it's a stock room, right? There's shelves with just food in the living space. But they walk over to the kitchen, and my favorite part was it was one of those big like sort of industrial fridges with the glass doors that you'd see in
you pull open
in
and
a
grab
kitchen
shit
or
out of it.
A deli or so
bodega.
That was funny. And then the booth in the middle. The only seating they have is a giant old booth.
Yeah.
From the restaurant downstairs.
It's nice. Drew's also, while he's looking at that fridge space, is like, well, where do you guys keep the beer? And he goes, oh, it's on tap. And then he opens this like portal little sort of cabinet door, and it just goes straight down to over the bar at the Warsaw.
Yeah.
And he calls down to the bartender and asks for 2 Buzz beers, and the guy just throws them up to Lewis, and he catches them.
We should say when he opens it, it also shines this big bright red light. Lewis called it like it was some portal. It wasn't a portal to hell.
He says every time he opens it, he's making a deal with the devil.
He's making a deal with the devil.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah,
it's not a bad look for these guys,
Honestly, it works out perfectly for them. What do you think your rent is if you live on top of a bar?
I'm gonna say it's like, well, and it's also the 90s. I don't know, $200.
That could be it. That could be it. I don't think it's that much because they even in the next episode, they get hired by the bar to do some like catering for a food event,
and they
get 25 off the rent. And I'm like, either they're getting ripped off, like,
or that's
25 would mean nothing to us.
Yeah,
but back then, I guess if it's on $200 rent, I mean, it's Cleveland, Ohio. It's the top of a bar. It's like the suburb. That makes sense.
Yeah, right.
$200 is a good guess.
Yeah. That's me. This is the money episode. We're just throwing around statistics and numbers like we didn't major in media theory.
Everyone at home has their big glasses on and notepads.
They got green visors and just calculators. They're hitting like crazy.
No, it could never be 200. That's not going to level up.
When you look at the trend lines of interest rates, it doesn't make sense. Oswald and Kate come in. We're dealing also with the fallout of them formally announcing their relationship to everybody. And Drew seems less than thrilled about it still. He's kind of like, he says he's fine, but there's a weird, cold, distant energy that I would say he has for them.
Yeah. He's him and Lewis. They're both kind of in the same boat.
Lewis, at least we have a little more understanding. Well, I guess maybe we could assume it's Drew too, but Lewis has actively said that he doesn't like being the third wheel already.
Right. Right.
So I get that a little more.
They finally get a moment to talk about it a little bit in here, though, and just how it feels weird.
Yeah.
Lewis said it feels, or Drew said it feels incestuous, and Lewis is like, yeah, it feels like your dad dating your mom.
Yeah. That's wrong.
That's it.
But yeah. So then we go to the office the next day, and word has gotten around that Drew was arrested for drug trafficking. And Mimi's just giving him a whole bunch of shit for it. She comes in saying that she's got his prison outfit, and it's like a wedding veil, right? She's...
And he was like, "Oh, at least I'm going to get to use it before you do."
Zing! There you go.
Fucking zing.
Yeah. Mr. Wick comes through and says that the company has full support behind Drew. He's been there for 10 years, of course.
You would expect that.
Yeah.
Drew has given his blood, sweat, and tears for this place.
And in addition to that, he would also like to have his piss. He asks if he can fill up a urine cup and give it to security by noon.
Have you ever had to do urine samples?
I've had to do it for doctors.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. No, all my jobs are pretty cool.
I haven't had to ever do like a drug test, but the doing it even though at the doctor's, it is weird.
Yeah,
right? It's like it. I never feel like you always worry. Can I, just piss
on command
like that? Yeah. And then you can, and then you quickly realize, oh, I might have too much piss.
It's with great piss comes great responsibility, I believe, is what Uncle Ben said. No, it is kind of like unlocking a superpower.
It's like, it's like, I think what it is you never realize quite how much you're flushing out of your body when you do go to the bathroom. What that looks like, volume-wise in a cup.
Because you're just seeing it in a giant porcelain bowl.
Yeah, you don't, and there's already water in there.
Yeah, exactly. So it's diluted.
Yeah, you have no idea.
Yeah, but no, we've got the power to piss. And I hope Drew does too.
Yes.
Drew's lawyer then comes in, and Mimi brings her in for some reason.
Yeah, I guess Drew can have a real lawyer now. Because remember, it was
looking for a public defendant in season 1.
A few seasons ago, he couldn't afford a lawyer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now he's got one, no problem. And she's got good news and bad news. The good news is the case against him has been dropped. He is an innocent man. No reason to worry about it. The bad news is he goes out of his way to avoid the bad news. He's covering his ears and telling her, "Nope, that's it. I didn't hear anything else. This, that, the other." The bad news is his house is still owned and seized by the government because of the drug trafficking. Mm-hmm. So he is innocent. His house is guilty is basically the rule here.
Yeah. So he's still going to lose everything.
Yeah.
Maybe. My whole thing is with this is, so they, he came in the last scene and he was putting his stuff in boxes. You only get what you can fit in the box.
Yeah.
Is that the
in
case
10
here?
minutes?
Because, in 10 minutes, exactly. Because, so otherwise, when these homes get auctioned off, does everything come with them?
Yeah.
Or since it's a crime scene, is everything taken and put in like an evidence room?
I don't know the deal that he had with Larry, but Larry was renting from him.
Right.
So why his name wasn't on the mortgage? Now, granted, his rent money was being used for Drew's mortgage, so I understand the logic of that.
Was Larry paid off Drew's mortgage with his drug money?
Yeah. It's whatever. So, in addition to the government taking it and his house being a crime scene, the government's going to auction off his house. And Drew cannot buy back the house because of reason I don't understand. I guess it's like the criminal can't buy back the crime.
Their own place at the auction.
Yeah, even though he's innocent. But he can't have his house.
Yeah, that's weird. Why wouldn't you be able to bid back on your own house if you are proven innocent?
We've asked a lot of the math nerds. I would also like to ask a lot of the lawyers that listen to this show. All of them. All of
Can you explain why I'm not able to bid on my own home if I am proven innocent?
Yeah, in a crime
that happened in my house.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess maybe he was. I mean, well, no. If he was an accomplice or if he was, aiding the crime in any way, he would still
have
be
had
guilty.
the charges dropped. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
This also then leads to Drew making a fake phone call to his fridge, telling him that they're onto us, and to tell the oven we love her.
Sometimes Drew's just out here doing shit for himself.
Yeah. Sometimes Drew's talking to his appliances.
What if we started acting that way? You ever think of what,
if you were a zany sitcom character?
Maybe this is what main character energy is, but going around our regular lives.
Yeah.
And then doing sitcom level. I guess you'd have to be able to think of it on the spot, which that alone would be impressive. But assuming you could think of what would your coworkers think of you if you pulled out and you did a fake call in the office to your fridge?
Again, I work in a comedy environment, so I think it's a little more acceptable.
You might get promoted.
Yeah, I might become an executive producer on the show. But I will say, I think it's really fucking annoying, probably, to other people who are especially imagine
your lawyer,
your lawyer. Imagine your lawyer's trying to explain terms to you, and you're like, ring, ring, hello, refrigerator.
Fridge. No, just get an extension cord. Yeah,
there you go. Tell the toaster to shut up. So then we go back to the Warsaw, and the gang is there. This is where we get Lewis complaining about third wheeling kind of explicitly to them because Oswald and Kate invite him out.
Yeah.
And the caveat is they say, well, you can at least pick the plans that you want to do. And
right.
Lewis gives...
He gives this big, long, rambly, why don't we go out to the park, watch the stars, go back, get a nice French dinner, get a bottle of red wine, watch, some movies.
See what happens.
Yeah.
And then they're like, I think you got to move out. I don't think we can have this kind of... Drew comes in with Nicki. Nicki wants to know why they're meeting at the Warsaw and not Drew's house.
Also, this was where I remembered that Nicki was also thrown in prison.
Yes, of course. She's reintroduced to all of the prison mates that she had, Kate and Oswald.
Yeah.
They're formally meeting now under less duressing circumstances.
Right. So, yeah, they're Nicki's wondering why they're meeting at the Warsaw, and then Drew explains the situation.
This is my house.
This is my house. So he's currently rooming with the boys upstairs.
Yeah. She is a realtor, as we know. So Drew asks about what should he expect his house to go for at auction. And she's basically like, I wouldn't even bother showing up because you're going to be depressed at how low the house is going to go. And I guess if you sell it as oh yeah, this is an active crime scene. People aren't going to want that.
It did make me wonder, maybe we all talk about how bad interest rates are right now and everything, and how bad it is for people to get homes.
Yeah.
Maybe this should be I bet you these are really competitive these days.
Yeah.
Because immediately my thought was, oh, this should be what I'm doing, right? When I'm ready to go buy a home, go to whatever's getting auctioned off by the government.
Yeah.
Whatever crack dens are getting auctioned off, and just put a low bid on a house. This definitely does not happen. I mean, it happens. I was gonna say, you can't put a low bid. You can't expect a low bid anymore. I bet you these homes still go for a lot of money these days.
Don't you and your girlfriend watch shows where it's they buy houses and then renovate them, and they buy? I'm sure they don't buy houses like this where it was an active drug thing. But
right?
Aren't those people who chase deals and then try to spin the house or whatever?
Yeah. I guess it's similar, but even then, this is why I'm saying I bet you can't even get a good deal anymore these days because those homes that they'll buy on those shows, they still cost a fortune, and then you got to put thousands and thousands
into
of
renovation.
Yeah. Anyway.
Which you wouldn't have to do with Drew Carey's house. So
no, because it has all this stuff.
Yeah. Also, there probably wasn't a lot of drugs in the house. I'm sure the guy just lived there. I don't know. We don't know.
We've never seen the basement.
We've never seen the basement.
We don't know.
No.
Maybe it's maybe there were lamps everywhere. He was growing pot. We don't know.
Yeah. Damn, Drew's got a whole grow house underneath his basement.
Maybe Bryan Cranston was down there and he was cooking meth. We don't know.
Him and Larry and Tidy Whities just going ahead. Let's cook. So this discussion about how low it's going to go inspires Drew to come up with a crackpot theory on how he's going to get his house back.
Yeah.
He can't bid on it. But if it's really going to go for like dirt cheap, he can have one of his friends bid on it, and then they can just have him pay the mortgage prices that they're going to deal with. But then he realizes he's going to have to pay for 2 mortgages at the same time.
Yeah.
Which I don't understand where that comes from. He has to still pay for his mortgage?
I thought his mortgage, so I guess if your mortgage is paid off using drug money,
you have to
maybe
then pay
they
that money
forfeit
back.
that payment.
Yeah, they go, you can't do that.
But that's not fair. He was innocent. He didn't know.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's free money. But anyway, so then when he realizes...
I guess he has to finish paying off that other mortgage, and then...
there would be this additional mortgage that somebody else is taking on. So he realizes what he's going to do is he's just going to declare bankruptcy.
Yeah.
And then what are they going to do? Put him in jail? I guess he already did that.
I don't really know.
No, I don't know either. I don't understand. It's like a stupid idea.
Yeah, what happens if you declare bankruptcy?
Yeah. I think you... Oh, but he wouldn't lose his house because he doesn't own his house.
No.
Right. I don't know if I understand the logic of this.
I don't either.
Yeah. I guess he's just like... Because then he's using the system against the system is how he sells it.
Yeah.
But it still doesn't make sense to me how he's going to make that happen.
He's still... Because isn't he still responsible for the payments?
Yeah. So what happens if he declares bankruptcy? It's still money he owes.
You no longer... I don't know. God, if someone want to explain that to us, Money Guys.
Here's the thing. Money Guys, lawyers, math
the
guys.
best and the brightest of Cleveland Rocks this episode. We need our lawyers.
We're calling all Mensa members that listen to this podcast. We don't know shit, and we didn't look into the logic. You know what the obvious answer is, though, to all of this? And I think any question we may have about a logic loophole.
Yeah.
It's a fucking sitcom. That's the reality. It's just, you know what? This will then lead to the next scene, which is Drew has a bankruptcy party in the apartment above the
Now, do you
Warsaw.
think these actually exist? Because this looked awesome.
A bankruptcy party?
Yeah.
It'd be cool. Yeah, they're all dressed to the nines with it, I'll tell you what. Like,
yeah, they're all wearing old bills.
Costumes. Drew's like a red arrow going down on a chart.
Yeah.
Oswald.
That was a really involved costume. You know how fucking hard that must have been to make?
Yeah. Shout out to the costumes team on this.
No, I'm talking about literally in the sitcom universe, Drew Carey.
Oh, like the him.
Assuming he made that himself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a lot going on, so the idea that he stitched a red arrow going spiking down
with a sewing machine.
Yeah. Lewis is dressed in an all red like onesie and a cap, and it just says in the red on like his chest. Yeah, I enjoyed that. I thought that was good. Yeah, they're all doing, they're all dressed like bills and negative money things. They have an oldest bill contest to see who has the oldest unpaid bill contest.
Yeah.
To see who has the oldest unpaid bill. Kate has like, I can't even remember, an orthodontist bill, I think, from a decade ago.
Yeah.
The winner is Lewis, who has a bill unpaid from when he was born. And he just goes, what are they going to do? Put me back in? It's good. It's good.
And then the party turns around and we start talking about Kate and Oswald lingering thread here. You know, Drew starts to feel some type of way because
we get some tension.
Kate's like laughing at all of Oswald's jokes.
Oswald explains what he's dressed as, and to be honest with you, as I'm saying this right now, I can't remember what
it was at all.
But she's laughing at a lot of his jokes, and it feels forced in a way that it probably wasn't when they weren't dating.
Right.
So Drew calls it out, and he's like, you're only laughing at him because he's got a bad...
You're laughing at all his bad jokes. Dick move.
Seems sourpuss.
Yeah, a little sourpuss.
And Nicki steps in and goes, what the hell was that about? That seems like you really brought down the attitude of the party with this. Your bad attitude souring things.
Yeah.
You should go apologize.
Yeah, good for Nicki for understanding the situation. So not only should you go apologize, you should just go talk it out.
Yeah.
And he does. He goes over to Kate and he just starts talking about, how it's making him feel, how he thinks that he is never going to find someone, how he's feeling very lonely right now. You know, it used to be the four of us, and now it's just him
and Lewis. Yeah, he's worried about his own singleness.
Yeah.
And it's Kate says some things that then trigger.
He does have a girlfriend right now, but
yeah, we're not calling her a girlfriend, though.
Yeah, well, in the next episode.
We do, but we don't in this one. Yeah, he's feeling lonely. I think I don't know. I think there's lingering things from, as we've seen, I think he's got some feels for Kate. And he's mad that his more attractive friend has gotten it. I don't know. Is Oswald, we've talked about Dietrich Bader lovingly, I would say. He's a handsome piece of meat.
He's stupid. He's handsome, though.
Yeah.
They're all stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no bright person in this gang, really. Kate says some things that trigger Drew. So the first one is, she's hugging him and comforting him and goes, "Oh, I'm sure you'll find someone, Drew." And then we get, and this is a younger person's frame of reference, but the only way I can describe it is like a Raven Simone-esque zoom into his face.
Yes,
and we get like a like a sight into the past, and it's all of these like POV shots of Drew looking at a person.
Yeah.
And it's like his mother, and she goes like, "Oh, I'm sure you'll find someone, Drew." And then like a teacher says it, and then a priest, and then like a party clown. Like just all of these people telling Drew that I'm sure
you'll
there's someone.
Find someone. Yeah. And then it happens again, but I forget what the second phrase was.
I believe it's Kate going, "We can still be friends, right?"
Yes.
So and then we get the zoom back in, and we get the same teacher, which I had assumed it was a crushing situation. Drew was in love with his teacher.
Yeah.
Maybe it was that woman. No, it wasn't that woman he slept with. That was later.
No, that was the band.
Yeah. He didn't need to still be friends with her.
No, he didn't need to be friends. He didn't want to be friends.
He didn't want to be friends. But it's a teacher, and then it's my favorite shot in the whole thing. I think it's a drive-through speaker. It's a drive-through speaker that's just going, "Well, we can still be friends, right?" And then so Drew goes over to Lewis. And to put a button on the whole thing.
Lewis is clearly feeling it, too. Yeah. He's just alone drinking. I feel for Lewis more than anyone.
Yeah.
Lewis is alone now.
Yeah, Lewis doesn't have a girlfriend that we're not calling a girlfriend.
He never has a girlfriend.
No.
And
he's always hitting on women, and it's never working out.
Oswald was just his yes man, and now he's lost him.
Yeah.
Brutal.
But we get a moment where Drew's trying to talk to Lewis, and Lewis is like spacing out, I guess. And he goes, "Quit looking at me like that, Lewis. Like, you're freaking me out." And then we get the same pan into Lewis's face, and it's the same group of people. It's Drew's mom, it's the teacher, it's the priest, it's the clown, all telling Lewis to stop looking like that.
Quit looking at me like that, Lewis.
You're freaking me out. Oh, it's a fun little visual bit that they did, and I thank you for it, Drew Carey Show.
Thank you, Drew.
Thank you, Drew. The next day, the estate sale begins. The gang tries to tank the house from the start by spreading lies about it and basically saying it's a piece of crap house.
Yeah, Lewis says there's an unmarked grave, and Kate says something about the plumbing. Oswald says something about a roach and a mouse.
Just trying to really undersell how
there's probably about 20 people here,
houses.
At this auction. Decent crowd.
Yeah.
But
not a lot of people end up bidding.
Not a lot of people end up bidding at all, which is why I was like, I don't know why all of you are here, but
the auctioneer walks up and they start the bidding, and Lewis is, I guess, the man that is helping Drew out here.
Yeah, he's going to bid on Drew's house for Drew.
Yeah, so he starts at $10,000.
Yeah.
And then it looks like nobody else is going to bid until suddenly, out of the fucking garage space, Mimi appears.
Mimi.
And she puts it in for, I think $25,000.
Yeah.
And then from there, it's just an insane.
Mimi literally just says she's here. Well, she's there to cause chaos, you assume.
Yeah.
But she also wanted a house for cheap.
Yeah.
She did say that.
It's not, and where else are you going to find a nice house for cheap than Drew Carey's estate sale?
So, they start bidding.
They go back and forth.
They go back and forth.
It has to be increments of $500, but Lewis keeps trying to just go $1 over. Price is Right rules, just $1 over what Mimi's bidding. Yeah. Doesn't work out. Then the neighbors come in. The new neighbors from across the street come in.
Yeah, the rich ones.
And they try to outbid Lewis and Mimi. They successfully are able to outbid Mimi. Mimi leaves.
Yeah, but they want to get the place just so
they can knock it
all
down and they can have more space for themselves to whatever. They have a koi pond, I think, right? They've said before, so they probably just want other weird shit like that.
They have a Japanese garden. That's what it is.
Japanese garden, not a koi pond. Yes. Yeah. Well,
That's such imagine having a Japanese garden in Cleveland,
in a Cleveland suburb. Well, yeah, you're that neighbor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyway,
what do? You have a barbecue? You show people, it's my Zen garden.
I meditate there.
Yeah.
I like to just get away from it all, you know.
So anyway, they bid it up to
like $70,000.
And then
Drew,
the final bids ends up being like 75. But that's basically what Drew paid. No, Drew was
it's
like
more. I think
it's more. Yeah,
Drew I think said he paid like $50,000 or something for it. Or his parents paid $50,000 for it.
Yeah.
So, but Drew is trying to plead with his neighbors, and he's able to successfully get them to stop their bidding. Only after he points out the neighbor on the other side of their house he's old. He's got a heart problem. Long winter, small snow shovel. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, you do the math.
You do the math. He's painting out, the picture of, they're going to have another opportunity probably soon. Lewis wins the bidding. It's $75,001, which is $25,000 more than Drew paid originally for the fucking house. But whatever. It's Drew's. He's got the place. He walks in and he says, "Oven, I'm home," and he's basking in the glory of winning that auction.
That is. Can we just talk about the snow shovel thing?
Yeah.
How is it that, how are people not heeding this warning by now? Like, how are this many people still dying from, like, trying to shovel snow?
Sure.
Every year, like, again, I work for the news.
Yeah.
Every time there's, like, a winter storm or at the start of winter, the one of the big threads is like, oh, be careful shoveling snow. Because you get this heavy, wet snow.
Yeah. I think it's hubris.
Why are people doing it?
I think it's both hubris and stupidity. Like, I think a lot of people think it would never happen to them.
Yeah.
It's and then it's snow. How much can snow weigh?
Yeah.
It's water.
I say this, but I can totally see myself, I guess, at like 60 years old being like, oh, come on, I used to do this all day.
Kids. I'm not going to pay them. I'll do it.
Yeah.
And then you croak. Yeah.
What a brutal way to go.
Yeah, the ticker stopping working just because you wanted to go shovel your own driveway.
That's the most honorable way to go in Buffalo, New York.
21 gun salute.
My dad died shoveling snow. My dad's dad died shoveling snow.
But it's also, just like park your cars in your fucking driveway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's all. Like, you can
don't
avoid
go
a lot
anywhere.
Of this. Yeah.
Just don't go anywhere.
It'll melt. Yeah. Everything melts. Where you gotta go?
Yeah.
Instacart.
I'm surprised we don't. Here's an idea. Why don't we drop salt from the skies like we're putting out wildfires? So, like, how those planes will drop retardant in the West?
Yeah.
We should just fill those planes up with salt and then fly over Buffalo and just drop a bunch of salt on top of Buffalo.
But if the snow's already there, I thought salt was a preventative thing. So, like, it doesn't.
No, it
ice.
melts.
The salt melts the snow.
Yes.
We could. Isn't there also problems like if you're just walking around? Like, I guess this is
science nerds. Explain to me why
we can't do this. Hey, Reddit, I want to. No, I do like the idea of treating Buffalo like it's a disaster zone in general. So I think it would be a bad idea.
Just fly over the Bills stadium every time it gets covered in snow and drop a bucket of salt.
Yeah.
See what happens.
Yeah, I'm sure that's going to have no negative repercussions that I'm not thinking about right now. I think it will actually make any stray vegetables that are growing out there delicious.
Yeah. Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a nice little sprinkle. Salt Bay should.
We don't
really
even
be
need to
doing,
cook them.
Yeah, Salt Bay should be doing advertisements for like snow prevention. The credit scene here is the gang all ordering meals from that like cabinet down to the Warsaw. We get like sandwiches. Lewis gets a spaghetti dinner.
Yeah, that gets tossed up like a frisbee.
Yeah. He realizes though they forgot his meatball, so he goes down to complain, like looking down to complain. He's not leaving.
No.
And he realizes there's an attractive blonde woman sitting at the bar, so he starts sitting on her, and he gets a drink thrown in his face
from below.
From below. So really good aim.
My favorite thing was the line he used. He was like, "Hey, do you want to take the stairway to heaven?" Hey, babe.
Yeah.
It's just past the men's room.
Do you think because we didn't see a bathroom, do you think they just use
they definitely, but
where do they shower?
Where do they shower? Yeah.
I don't want to know.
Maybe you just get in the big industrial sink in the kitchen and you just use the faucet.
Yeah. That was episode 5.
That's episode 5, guys.
Episode 6, Drew versus the pig. For a very long time in this episode, I wasn't sure why this was the title. And then when it immediately became clear why this was the title, I was like, that rules. That is so fun. So the Warsaw is having a bust-a-gut night. I had to ask you about this. I've never heard of that term before.
Yeah, bust-a-gut.
Yeah.
I never heard of it. I don't know. They just made up
it seems
some
like
shit.
okay. I was like, it seems like it's just it's a
Midwestern thing.
Heavy, sure. It's a heavy food night. They're just making a bunch of food, and you come over. And
you just come. Literally, it's just eat. But like, what I don't understand is like you pay for the food, probably, right?
Right. How is this dinner? How's this different than just?
I guess it's just buffet style. Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
Looked good. They were like bacon wrapped sausages and ribs and
chicken wings.
It was all meat.
Yeah, it was fantastic.
All meat.
All meat at the Warsaw. It was good. Lewis and Oswald are working, as we said, as caterers. They're getting $25 off their rent that we don't know how much it could cost. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kate is also there, and Drew shows up with Nicki. Kate points out how it's such a big deal because Drew's never brought a date to Bust-a-Gut night before. He said it was too many conflicting feelings at once.
And this is where Drew starts loading up his plate, and we realize he's loading it up for Nicki. He tries to hand it to Nicki. Nicki's like, "Oh, I can't eat that."
Yeah.
Now, I was kind of surprised with where we went with this.
Yeah.
So Nicki decides to explain herself. Drew's like, "Oh no, you're with me. You're good. You can eat as much as you want. I'll show you the ropes.
Yeah, I'm the king of this.
I'm the king of this." And Nicki like sits him down and she's like, "No, I'm on a diet. I used to be very overweight. I've lost 85 pounds
in the last 2 years.
In the last 2 years. So she's been on some massive weight loss journey. I really thought they were going to say like she's a vegetarian.
Right.
I was really waiting for the vegetarian part.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is never going to work. It still probably won't work.
Star-crossed lovers, though. Like she has like an ideological opposition to Drew's way of life.
Well, no, I respect the vegetarian if you're just like, I just want to eat vegetables, but I'm not going to yuck your yum.
Yeah.
It's whenever the vegetarians, like, they get in your face and they're like, oh, you're eating, this poor animal.
I don't understand. Well, that's vegan, right? Or no, vegan is vegetarian. Vegetarian is just, I always get confused with this. Vegetarian is just no meat.
Yeah.
Vegan is I'm not eating meat or any animal byproduct.
Byproduct, yeah.
So like eggs, because eggs come from chickens and that's wrong.
Yes.
Okay.
And I don't think they don't eat fish either.
Sure.
Or do they eat fish?
Well, fish are animals. This is where fucking vegetarians piss me off.
Vegetarians will eat fish.
Yeah. Because you're a pescatarian, right? Oh, I don't eat meat, but I eat fish. Fish are fucking alive.
Yeah.
Also, plants are alive. I just want to say, for the record, plants are alive.
Why don't we give a shit about plants?
Yeah. Where's PETA for plants?
I care more about plants than I got more plants in my apartment than I do fucking animals.
Yeah.
I'm a plants activist.
Yeah,
I don't even eat I can't eat vegetables in front of them.
Yeah, no, they're gonna see it.
Yeah,
they're gonna see it and they're gonna cry. That's because you water them, I guess. No, I don't know. Anyway, yeah, no, I didn't know what it was gonna be either. I hadn't thought that she could have been vegetarian. I think that would have been a bigger red flag from the get go.
Yeah,
I guess it's just still kind of a new relationship, though.
Yeah. That would have been a big bomb to drop, though. Yeah. I mean, and there is pretty much no resolution if they did. So it makes sense the way they went. So
yeah. So she's trying to be healthier. She's trying to avoid temptations of eating all that excess food. She doesn't want to get back where she was.
No.
And Drew is kind of like, oh, that's great. Like he's really proud of her. He's inspired even. He's like, I can lose 5 pounds for every 1 pound.
Because she said she has a few more pounds to lose.
Yeah.
So yeah, he wants to lose 5 for every. So it's basically set it on, I'm going to lose 10 pounds.
Yeah. And then Mimi enters not knowing who the hell Nicki is, and just starts making fun of Drew for the idea that he's going to diet.
Yeah.
They go back and forth, making fun of his weight, and say that he can't do it. We also get Mr. Wick at one point.
Yeah, he pops in, he says...
Which I thought this was going to be a thing, and it's not at all in the episode.
No, he just pops in with the big wigs from Denmark or wherever the hell.
I think they're like Danish or something.
Amsterdam,
yeah.
wherever.
Dutch
yeah,
big wigs.
Amsterdam. And anyway, he pops in.
And I guess these are the people who own Winfred Louder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they think he's out of touch ever since he bought a Jaguar.
Right.
So he's trying to show that he's still in touch with the community. So he's coming to the Warsaw and he's trying to pretend like he's always there. And he says, let's get urine-faced.
I enjoyed that so much. Urine-faced, man. That's like, I feel like that's like... such a Dutch turn of phrase, and I have no reason to explain it. It just seems like something I could hear like a Dutchman say.
Yeah.
Anyway,
let's get urine-faced.
Let's get urine-faced, man.
Drew
and Mimi then go back at it though, and they decide to make it interesting financially. For every pound Drew loses, she'll pay him $20. So if that's 10 pounds, which is the goal, it's $200.
Right.
And if he doesn't make that, I guess he has to give her $200.
Yeah, or if he puts on the weight.
Right, or if he gains another 20, he's got
yeah. But anyway, he announces to the bar that he's not going to eat, and then the bar stops.
Everybody freezes.
And then he's like, but I'm still going to drink beer. And then everyone goes back. I don't think Drew realizes beer, that's where you really make up your calories, man.
Well, we just had this with the Vita beer guy.
Yeah.
We just had this whole thing of like he's switching to light beer to lose weight.
If you want to lose weight, just quit drinking fucking beer.
A lot of like weight conscious episodes this season, which is interesting to me. I'd say the pilot,
maybe
the
Drew's
first episode,
grappling a lot
with being a bigger guy,
with his own self. You listen to his. It's been a theme throughout the show, and you listen to his stand-up and everything. But you're right.
Maybe this is why
in this season more than any, it's become like.
Maybe this is why he doesn't want to go back and watch the show.
Right.
But it's also like, obviously, if you're the main character in this, you have to come in with that idea. You know what I mean? I don't think a writer can be like, hey, I noticed you're a fat piece of shit. No. So what if we did a thing?
But even if you come in with the idea, you can still... It still hurts, right?
Yeah.
He's bringing it up because he knows that, like, and he's probably bringing up in jest because it's like the only way he knows how to, like,
for
handle
sure.
it, and it is his moneymaker. But like, it's gotta be a grind.
And as we see, this goes to like a personal psychological place with his weight loss and relationships and things like that. So, not to get ahead of ourselves, but so that's the cold. When we go back to the office to start the episode properly after the titles, I thought this was going to be more of a Halloween themed episode because there's Halloween.
There is a lot of Halloween decorations. I do like how subtly they approach the time of the year.
Yeah,
they're just
they make sure you're aware.
It is the fall.
Yeah,
but they're not going. There's no Halloween party,
and it does set up like some set pieces later. Like it's fallish. It's not really a Halloween costume episode.
No, but it does set up the fact that there is a harvest
carnival or whatever they're calling it. Yeah. Which we also see at the office. Mr. Wick, I guess we should say, gathers everybody around as if he's going to tell a story and tells them to close their eyes and get all ready. And once upon a time, Hopkins was fired. And that was the end of the story.
The first time we've seen Wick just fire someone in a while.
Yeah.
It was good.
It's just it's an innate character thing that it's just like, oh, by the way, this is the thing that this guy does.
Yes.
Drew's fat, Kate is girl,
and
Mr. Wick fires people. This is the Bible. This is the Bible of the Drew Carey show. We get the gang coming in. They have $1 million idea for Drew. So I guess they have a tent at the upcoming Cleveland Harvest
they
Festival.
say they got a tent at the Harvest Festival.
And
honestly, that's great. And I don't understand why they aren't just like, let's just sell fucking beer.
Yeah, why do they need like icing on top of the cake?
And as we come to find out, they're experimenting.
With
something.
Well, and it's also like Kate definitely has a job. They all ostensibly have jobs. I don't know why we're taking the time to,
Yeah.
So yeah, they have $1 million idea. They tell Drew, get ready, fire, or quit your job. Buzz beer hotcakes. So like coffee beer infused
coffee beer
pancakes. So Drew takes a bite. Of course, remember, Drew's on a diet now. So Drew takes a bite, but all he needs is a bite. He spits it up immediately.
They did not look fluffy.
No, they didn't look good at all. They don't. I thought it, like, they get to this place eventually. They think down the line they pitch salad dressing, Buzz Beer salad dressing.
Yeah, well,
let's focus on syrup. Let's keep it in a liquid.
Yes.
I think. Why are we putting it in a solid?
Well, I guess liquid salad dressing's a liquid.
No, that's what I'm saying. That we get to a liquid. Why is the hotcakes? Why the fuck are we doing with hotcakes? Why are we putting it in
Why are we just selling beer? You have beer and it's a festival. People love that shit. That's their favorite two things for some people.
Anyway, Drew pukes it out. It was so good I'm sharing some with my hand. It's awful. Nicki comes in. They have a planned lunch date.
Yeah, they're going to go to a salad bar.
Going to a salad bar. Drew's like, you ever hear of this? You just eat salad.
And then you stop. And the gang's totally not. Nobody's buying it or into it.
No.
They're like, this is so not Drew.
Yeah, it feels bizarre, but good for him. He's willing to step up when his girlfriend wants to try something different.
Yeah.
He then goes. He's about to leave. Mr. Wick comes in with a stack of paperwork for him, though, so that puts the whole thing on.
Yeah,
ice.
he has work to do.
Yeah, so he's like, I'll bring you something back. What do you like on your salad? Drew says pie. So yeah, it feels like it wasn't going to work.
Yeah, he has no idea.
No,
he does. He can't even comprehend salad bar.
Yeah.
So Nicki leaves, and then Mimi comes over.
Yeah.
And this is kind of a cool moment from Mimi. I can't tell. I can't tell.
I don't think it is.
Maybe it's not. I guess it depends, because for a moment I did give Mimi the benefit of the doubt, and I was like, good looking out, Mimi.
Yeah.
This woman, so Mimi basically says that Nicki.
Well, she realizes why Drew is doing this weight loss. It's not for him; it's for his girlfriend.
It's for his girlfriend, and basically, Mimi suggests that Nicki might be manipulating him in some sort of capacity by telling him that she used to be overweight and she's going through this weight loss, and that
to encourage him to lose weight,
to do it because she doesn't accept him the way he is.
Maybe she's lying just a little bit. Maybe it's a little fib. Maybe she's not telling the truth. Maybe,
right.
Yeah.
But see, when they first presented it, I was like, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Good on you, Mimi. That's why I'm saying I thought it was a cool moment from Mimi for a second.
Yeah.
Little lest I forget that Mimi is diabolical.
Yeah. And it's really, I took it as not a cool move just because the only thing that really does is plant doubt in your relationship. She's just trying to not only now fuck with Drew's weight loss, but also fuck with like the woman that is bringing him joy right now.
Yeah.
Now, if it's true, yeah, good looking out. But
yeah,
she doesn't know this woman.
Right. I guess I'm just coming from the place. It really seems like Drew does not want to do this. But no. Whatever.
The things you do for love.
Yes.
Things you do for love.
Next scene, we're at the garage.
Yeah.
Weird fucking explosion.
Well, they're working on more Buzz Beer spin-off products. This was the Buzz Beer powered lawnmower. So you put beer into your lawnmower to make it run.
It's a good idea.
No, it's not.
You just no.
No, it's not at all.
Well, you think about how much you need gas to make your lawnmowers run.
Yeah.
And you see what a commodity gas is.
Yeah.
Make Buzz Beer that commodity. Make Buzz Beer as necessary as gasoline.
Forget solar power. Forget wind power. We're going to run everything on a coffee-infused beer. Because, I mean, look, the coffee-infused beer, it'll give you the energy, and then it'll make you drunk.
But it is here where they start to brainstorm again on some more ideas.
Yeah.
And Lewis brings up this philosophy. It's like, I think he calls it like the backward success principle or something.
Yeah, it's like imagine yourself succeeding in something and then reverse engineer how you got to that point.
So he literally imagines himself down to, I'm wearing a suit. I'm wearing a brown suit with a stain.
Yeah.
He basically describes himself. He's standing next to what is the world's largest mug of beer.
Yes.
And that's what they're going to make. That's what's going to bring them great success. The world's largest mug of beer.
Mm-hmm. And they think it's achievable and that they will bring this to the festival.
Yeah.
And this will be
and
the
then
thing.
they will make $1 million.
It's not really fully thought out, but
No.
So then they decide they're going to settle in Drew's living room after that successful brainstorm, and they're talking about like getting like a pay-per-view, maybe like a nudie movie, like a porn.
Yeah,
but not.
I couldn't tell what this is, but it seems like softcore porn.
Yeah, exactly. It's like sometimes women get undressed. I can't remember what the name of it was.
Yeah.
And Kate's, I guess everybody's into it. They're all
they're all gonna just buy it on Drew, and then Drew's gonna fight it.
right. Drew's gonna, and that's their favorite thing. They like seeing Drew call the cable company and complain about a charge he didn't get.
Yeah.
Drew's like not here. He's sleeping. We don't really know what he's just. I don't know. He's sleeping in the middle of the day.
Well, he does wander down. It's nighttime.
It's nighttime. Oh, I thought it was day.
No, outside it was dark.
Okay, so yeah, so they probably just shouldn't be in the fucking living room. Then.
He wanders down the stairs.
Yes.
Drew, but he doesn't have his glasses on, so you know something's
He's
up.
in his pajamas, and he just does not acknowledge these folks at all. They're saying, they're talking to Drew, and they're like, "Oh, we didn't put this on," and like he just doesn't care. He's walking right
and they
past
think
them.
he's mad, so they go, and he walked right into the kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
He opens up the fridge, and he sits down at the table. He starts eating some sort of sandwich that was on a plate.
He's got a buzz beer. He's got, he's all prepared to just eat a meal. They're all like trying to get his attention, and he's not giving him anything. And it's then where Kate realizes Drew is sleep eating. It's not just sleepwalking. He's going down and making meals for himself and then eating them in his sleep.
Yeah.
That's a level of fat that I don't think I've ever seen before.
What do you think? It's his body, just he's not eating enough during the day, so it's like, we need food now.
Oh, interesting. You think it's because of the dieting?
Maybe.
I presumed that this was like a lifelong thing that explains
That he just
why Drew
always
Carey
does
is a
this.
bigger guy. Yeah. That we just
I don't think we
see
need
it.
an explanation. We've seen he drinks beer and he eats chili
Right,
cheeseburgers.
There's like, how does that guy get fat?
Yeah.
There's
How can he not lose a pound?
No, I don't. Maybe it is a diet. Maybe it's like a mental thing. Yeah. I don't really know what, like sleepwalking when you do, or sleep, talking in your sleep, whatever. But like sleepwalking is like, isn't it generally caused by like sleeping pills and things like that? Like, isn't it like introducing other medications?
Yeah, I don't really know. I've never been that exposed to it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't really know people who ever did it. No one did it in my house. No. I've never personally done it. I know, like, my mom, she takes some medications before bed, and she will have full conversations, or like sometimes like scream in her sleep.
Sure.
And that's all brought on from the medication. So yeah, maybe,
Aren't those more like, I think we've talked about like night terrors? Like,
yeah.
My brother has had those. Those are fucking horrifying.
Yeah.
Dude's like eyes fully awake, just screaming into the middle of the night. You
Yeah.
can't get out of your nightmare. Holy shit, man.
I think for my mom, though, that's brought on by medication.
Sure.
Because she never really did it before. And so maybe that's, by some extension, sleepwalking, if you're taking some sort of medication before bed, it's just a more extreme version.
I gotta be honest though, if it was between like a night terror type of thing or just me eating like a Dagwood sandwich at night,
Sounds awesome.
I would take the sleep eating.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Just imagine waking up and you just waking up at the kitchen table and you have a fucking sandwich in front of you and a beer.
Imagine waking up in bed and Cheeto dust is on your fingertips. You
can just...
Yeah. Clean them all off.
So anyway, they do wake him up at the kitchen table.
Well,
they realize
they
what's
fuck with him
happening.
a little bit before. They're trying to create a dreamscape where like he's
Yeah.
a flock of seagulls is interrupting
Yeah.
him. But then they realize they have to wake
Lewis
him
is
up.
like, "Oh, there's a beautiful woman in here," and he's like, "Oh, she's trying to take your sandwich," and Drew's trying to start
hitting
swatting
the woman
her away.
But they do realize they got to wake him up. So they figure the only way they can do it is by making him eat a vegetable.
Yeah.
So they have celery left over from, I think they
Bloody
said
Marys.
Bloody Mary night. And they have him eat it, and he immediately snaps out of it. And he's just like, what the? And he's not pleased to learn that he's been sleep eating. It explains why the dieting hasn't
he
been
had no
going
idea.
well. And then this is also where we get the
You'd
moment.
think you'd have an idea.
Yeah, that
You wake up with a taste in your mouth and your hands are dirty. There's a half-eaten
This
sandwich.
is also though. Remember, was it last season where Drew went on the fast? He was like, fasting is like a statement.
Yeah.
Like Gandhi almost.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. He didn't really lose a lot of weight then either.
No.
So I don't know. But this is where we also get him explaining the fear that Mimi has planted that Nicki is actually lying about her weight loss comes to kind of pass.
Yeah.
As like it's resonated in his brain a little more.
Yeah, he's explaining it to the gang there, and I guess they all like basically say that they'll help him. help figure it out.
Yeah, we can find out, if she's like, there has to be proof. There's a trail.
Yeah.
There has to be photos in high school or something. So
Exactly.
they're committed to help him figure out if she's lying or not about this.
So
we get to the big Harvest Festival.
Finally at the Harvest Festival.
It's got like a nice Oktoberfest vibe.
Yeah, they got like hay on the ground or something.
That's exactly what Oktoberfest is. When I see hay on the ground, you know it's October. And not only do we have hay on the ground, we've got the big fucking beer stein. We got this giant glass beer stein.
Lewis said it came from Drug Co.
Yes.
They used it for one experiment, and he said it seemed like a waste, so he cleaned it out.
And then they brought it here, and they filled it with Buzz beer.
And he's only lost a few fingernails.
Yes, and they're trying really hard to get people interested in it, and they're calling it, look at all the beer we've got. Nobody's really biting. Like, nobody really seems interested in this giant thing.
What is it? Am I paying to look at it?
Yeah, can I get some beer?
I guess you get to go inside it?
No. They don't want people inside of it until they have to. I think it's just you look at it like it's like a big like festival up here. I don't know. It doesn't really make sense. It never made sense. It's a sitcom.
Oh, what?
Did you know?
I guess ducks keep landing in the big beer too.
Yes.
Kate has to keep shooing the ducks out of the top.
Right. She's got like a pool skimmer, I think, to get them out of the thing.
Yeah. Drew comes in with Nicki, and the gang pretty much jumps right into questioning her, like trying to prove whether or not she was fat at some point.
Lewis.
So Oswald has a crossword.
Right.
He's trying to get her to basically say fatty. He's like, oh, can you help me with this crossword? It's like blank, blank, bow, blank, batty.
Fatty, blank, batty.
Yeah, whatever.
Trying to get her to fill in a thing. Lewis grabs her to start dancing, and he's like,
he just like assaults her.
He's feeling for like loose skin.
It's a little much.
A little too touchy.
I was a little too touchy. I guess I get it if it's your friend's friend and maybe you're all okay, but I feel like she's still too new to the group to be getting that handsy.
He's really third wheeling. It's really desperate. And it's at this point then that we realize there's a leak in the beer stein. Yeah. Kate's pointed out the beer's leaking out, so they've got to send somebody in. Lewis and Oswald fight for a second over who's going to do it. Lewis wins out. As Lewis says, Oswald has a lover. Yeah. Let him have something.
You have something to love.
Yeah. Let me have something.
So he hops in. He goes in. He jumps in fully clothed.
No, that's not true. He takes off something. Doesn't he have a jacket or something? That
he takes off his jacket. No, he's still wearing his shoes.
He's still wearing his shoes.
I made note of that. And he's in the stein, and we just see him fully submerged in this big beer mug behind the group.
Oswald says this is one of his 3 dreams that he's always wanted to live out. And suddenly, because they got a man in a giant beer stein, there's interest from the crowd.
Yeah.
Crowd all comes out.
They start calling him Beer Boy.
Right, exactly. Kate and Oswald see a marketing opportunity, and they go, come all gather around Beer Boy. Get your photo taken with Beer Boy. We'll tell you all of his secrets. His father was hops. His mother was barley. They really start spinning a whole, yarn about this. Yeah, he seems happy as can be, just being Beer Boy drunk in a tank.
He apparently is drinking it because he comes out sloshed.
Yeah. No, I mean, I would. Shit. If I was swimming in beer.
That was a dream that I had when I was a kid, not to be submerged in beer.
Uh-huh.
But I always...
what were you submerged in?
Here was my fat kid dream. I always wanted to be submerged in raspberry iced tea.
Jesus.
I was like, my dream is to be submerged in a pool of raspberry iced tea.
Was it a specific brand? Like you were
Turner's.
It was Turner's.
It was Turner. It's a local Pittsburgh brand, and they do a raspberry iced tea. And I was like, and they used to sell it at in high school.
Yeah.
And I just middle school and high school, and I think it was probably middle school age in my fat kid era, and I was like, God, I just want to jump in a pool of raspberry iced tea and drink it as I swim.
But it wasn't like, it's not enough to just have like a straw of it. No, you needed like a full.
I want to be able to
take a big gulp.
Yep.
Well, Lewis got to live out that dream in a way. He comes out of the tank and he's like drunk as hell. It's very fun.
Yeah.
It's also this point that Nicki has an old high school classmate come by and recognizes her.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you don't remember me, class of 84, but whatever. And Drew takes this as an opportunity to kind of like slyly be like, oh, I'm surprised you even recognized her, go like trying to get some information out.
Yes.
And the classmate goes, "Oh yeah, she looks exactly the same as she did in high school, down to the haircut."
So Drew immediately is like, well, that settles it.
That's it.
You know, Nicki kind of shoos her away, and then Nicki goes and gets a beer, and Drew turns to the gang, and he's like, that's it. You know, clearly she wasn't fat. She's lying to me.
Yeah.
And
it's at this point we hear a voice over the loudspeaker.
A voice of God, you could call it.
Yes. Calling to Drew saying, we have a watermelon eating contest with the North American champion of watermelon eating.
Yes.
If you want to take him on, come over. So Drew's like, you know what? I'm back in my fat shit. Let's do it. Goes over. The classmate comes back and apologizes to Kate and Oswald.
Yeah, and
this
she's
is
like,
such a weird thing.
Such a weird thing, but she's like, is he going to break up with her? You know, I didn't mean
I was upset because she was so fat she blocked me out of the class photo.
Yeah.
I think she says. So she's like, but if you were that upset, you're gonna joke that she's. It doesn't make sense to me that you would like I don't know.
I didn't understand.
I don't get it. But anyway,
they needed an out.
It turns out the classmate, exactly. It's a sitcom. The classmate lied, and Oswald and Kate decide that they have to tell Drew before he, has this watermelon eating catastrophe, which actually ends up not being a catastrophe.
Worse, it could be eating. He had a food competition for like nastier shit than watermelon.
It's watermelon's fairly healthy. He walks over and we find out that he's going against the North American champ, who is a pig.
Big Walter.
Drew versus the pig. Now the title finally makes sense. Drew, he's in like a fucking cage. Like, it's so insane.
Yeah.
And then they got Drew there. Drew's got his glasses off.
They only have to eat like half a watermelon.
Yeah, it's really not that much watermelon.
I was like, I could crush that.
Yeah.
It's not even half. It's like a quarter.
Right. It's like,
It's not about how much. It's how fast you could eat it.
Right,
And Drew scarfs it down. Big Walter doesn't even stand a chance.
He tries.
Yeah.
He does try. Mimi is there watching this whole thing unfold, and she's like, you hate to see family go against each other. Just here to see Drew Carey's downfall. So Drew wins handily, I would say.
Yeah.
Smokes the shit out of Big Walter. And Nicki then comes in and goes to her boyfriend, and she's like, I was proud, and then that feeling felt wrong watching you do this. It's then that also we get Oswald and Kate come over and, kind of explain the situation to Drew, that they're doing a bunch of hand motions to say, like, not thin, but big, like wide.
Yeah.
And he realizes he owes Nicki an apology and explains himself, and he's just kind of like, I was insecure and thought that you were lying because you don't like how I look, and, Nicki's just like, that's not this at all. I love how you look. I love you for who you are, Drew Carey.
Yeah, she says you're solid, jolly, and shade on a summer's day.
Yes. Fat guys really are jolly. God,
that's the best adjective.
We're a jolly group. That is true. It's a very kind adjective.
Yeah.
Without being at all complimentary, it's just kind about your personality. They make up. The relationship is still on, and to put a little pin on the festival thing, we hear that same voice of God over the loudspeaker. Beard Boy's friends are requested in the Lost and Found.
Yeah,
and if you
whoever owns Beard
Boy, and if you have his pants, if you could please bring those as well. And then Drew, I think, makes an astute observation that Beard Boy without his pants is just a creep. It's really not fun. So,
and then the credit scene is just Lewis and Oswald sitting in that giant vat of beer.
The beer is like down to their necks, basically. They've drank so much of it.
And they're sitting.
They're broing out. Yeah, they're sitting. They're broing out, and they're talking about, it's just drunken conversation. That's really all it is. Oswald keeps going back in, dipping his head in and out, and Lewis keeps saving him. And then they fall asleep. And that's it. I would drink out of a giant beer stein. I would go swimming in that.
I would definitely jump if I was the only one. Obviously, like my the germ concerns.
Sure.
If I got to jump in my own private beer stein, and I would drink. I would see how much I could gulp down.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know it wouldn't be that much.
It would it fuck with your eyes though and stuff?
Also, I don't know if I do it clothed. Would it be weird to do it naked though?
Well, I mean, naked beer stein experience. Maybe, probably, yeah. I just also worry about beer in not mouth places, you know what I mean? Like, it would probably burn your eyes. It'd probably burn your dick. I don't know. Like, I'm just saying. Maybe you need like a hazmat suit.
In your
like
butt?
a scuba suit.
Like you'd be drinking, but it's also touching your butt?
You could boof. You could boof in the beer stein. Open wide. There you go.
That's this episode of Cleveland Rocks.
That's this episode of Cleveland Rocks, ladies and gentlemen. That's it for this episode. Thank you for listening. If you like us, give us a positive rating on whatever podcast app you use. You can find us on Instagram. We're at instagram.com/Cleveland Rocks Podcast. You can email us. Again, all of you smart fuckers, email us
lawyers, scientists,
doctors. I think at one point. Mensa members, Cleveland Rocks Podcast at gmail.com. I think that does it for us.
Yes.
We'll see you in the next one.
See you later.
Bye.